Okay, cool. So we're recording now, and as always, we'll plan to make the recording public. And if anything gets said that shouldn't be recorded, let me know so I can stop the recording right then and we can start a new one. And if nothing gets, and if we don't stop anywhere along the way, we'll plan to make the whole thing public. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Riko, can I get an affirmative on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, great, cool. And of course, let me know if we need to pause to share anything privately or anything. I'm really so grateful to be here with you guys. I know we're connecting around Angie and Angie's priorities, and you guys have all been so pivotal in my life and Uniting for Action's development over the last couple of years especially. So I'm really excited to share with you guys, new stuff that no one else has seen yet, and talk about, where this is going, and talk about, how we support Angie in her success. So the main thing, to share right off the bat in terms of the intention of the meeting, for me, it's all about, how with what Angie is going to share and has already shared and will share, with what her priorities are and what she wants to accomplish. I feel like we're kind of like the brain trust of helping her figure out how to get it all done, right? Which is awesome that it's the first time that all four of us are together specifically around Angie. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's really, really great. I just have to take this moment to acknowledge and thank all of you for your role in my life and everything I'm going to share with you, and just this whole journey that we're all on together. Like, this is like an amazing moment for me as well. And so I just want to honor and appreciate all of you guys for that. Thank you. Thank you so much, each one of you. So I'm going to share, I think because of Emiliano's limited time, I'm going to start with the system and just show a bunch of overview of the system so you guys have an idea of what's there. But a lot of what we're going to focus on today is where the system falls in the toolbox of tools and resources that you guys are using, that we're all using with Angie to support Angie and her success in her different projects, right? And so a lot has shifted over the last few months, and that's where, I'm really eager to catch you guys up in terms of where I'm at with the whole system and what I've shared with you guys in the past versus where we're at now, because I want to make sure there's a really clear setting of expectations of all of us in terms of what the system can do, can't do. I want to make sure that we're not, trying to use a hammer as a wrench. I want to make sure that we're using the right tools and the right resources for Angie to accomplish what she wants to accomplish. Parts of it, handled by the Uniting for Action system. Parts of it, likely handled by other systems and other technologies. But that's where I want to make sure, we're all on the same page and we're all like in alignment with, Angie's doing this with this and doing this with this and doing this with this. And that's where I think, the three of us in terms of Emiliano, Riko, and I, can be agreeing on the best ways to support, Angie, along with your input, obviously, of how to divide responsibilities, not only amongst people, but among systems and all of those sorts of things. So to me, that's the context for the meeting, is to really get clear about the priorities and how all the priorities should be handled both by people and by systems. So does that make sense? And Angie, do you agree that that's kind of what you're looking for out of this process right now?
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking to create a masterful capacity for planning and for delegation.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, cool. Riko, any other clarifications you're looking for about, what we're looking to accomplish here?
No, you can continue.
Okay, great. So I'm going to dive right into the system just to show you guys and, talk about what's been evolving for me and how it's evolved into what you're seeing now. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to mention is that I'm right in the midst of a lot of development. I've been programming for many weeks now, and I still have at least another week or two to finish up the features that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you what's working. I'm going to show you what's still in progress, and just give you an idea again of where this is going and when, different features will be available for you guys and for Angie. So any questions before we dive in? Nope. Okay, great. Cool. Perfect. Okay, so here is our in process updated, what we were calling the mission control system before. And now what I figured out is everything that we're going to see is part of the mission control. So that's a little bit of a shift philosophically, just so you guys understand, is that I'm building this mission control interface to allow us to manage all aspects of our lives with all the complexity that it has, with all of the specifics that a mission control system gives us. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different apps that we get to use through the mission control. So you guys were seeing this before as the mission control. I know, Emiliano, you saw this. Angie, I'm trying to remember, I think we at least looked at where we had the different, this is a reality generating machine, and these are the different actions down below. And this is the color coding for the actions. I don't think you saw this, Riko, so this might be new to you. But I'm going to go into a little bit of detail around this. But any questions about this relative to what you guys saw before, Angie, Emiliano?
Okay. I remember you showed me some things. I'm not sure if it was this ultimate one, but it did have some color coding.
Yeah, exactly. So the color coding, just to remind you guys, and this is one of the apps. So I've really, since we've spoken, I've gotten really focused on the app aspect of this, I'm building a collection of apps, and I'm going to show you all the different apps. And I'm also building a platform that allows anybody to build an app and to have their app get plugged in and to earn from their app and all of that. So that's the bigger context of all of this. So this app that we're looking at is the creation app. This is where we're able to specify our reality generating machines with all the different nano actions, and then where we're at with all of those nano actions. So again, just to follow up on what you were just saying, Angie, in terms of the color coding. So the color coding goes from red to green in terms of completing tasks, right? So it's red when it's just been defined as a task. So let me go ahead and see, hopefully this will work when I go. So this is one of the apps, the scoring app, okay? And when we click on the scoring app, then it's going to go ahead and bring us the task, the nano action, assembling the technology team. It shows us where we're at with the scoring. We've identified a nano action. And then in order to go up in the score, we have to specify what we're seeking or what we're supporting, and then what we're looking for connectors, and then we make offers, and then we begin a negotiation. And then once we get to negotiations, we have a target for the number of offers, number of negotiations, and then finally we reach an agreement. So I'm not going to get into all of the specifics of all of that right now, because that'll take too long for the time we have. But the point of it is that this app gives you the ability to specify all of these actions that need to be accomplished, and then have your finger on the pulse of where I'm at right now, and gives you a paint by numbers process to be able to get it all done, right? It's like, next you do this, next you do this, next you do this. And when you do all of these things, you're going to end up in an agreement at the end. And remember, an agreement is our goal for every single nano action that we've defined, because once we lay out all the things that have to get done, once we have agreements with different people or with ourselves in order to get all those different things done, then it's just check mark, check mark, check mark, right? It's getting them all done. Of course, there is the aspect, as we've talked about a lot, it's not just done with the agreement, because then once you have the agreement, then you actually have, the person has to do the work, and there's management, follow-up, and project management and all of that. But in terms of getting from, I have an idea that I want to get this done, like, for example, for your travel blog, Angie. So, there's a lot of different aspects of the travel blog, right? Like, set up my travel, right? And you might have different assistants working on different aspects of that, right? So it's all broken down into all these different nano actions, and this person's working on this, and this person's working on this, and all of that, right? With this mission, with this creation app that lets you see where everything is at, and lets you say, oh, this whole reality generating system is done, except for this one piece. This is the one person I really need to call, and really need to make sure they're going to either get this done, or I need to replace them with somebody, because this is the holdup right now. You get what I'm saying? So any questions about that aspect of using the creation app to manage things to be created, basically? No
What's
from
the
you?
difference between the action and the nano action?
Yeah, so the nano action, technically is once you've broken down the actions all the way to where it can't get broken down anymore, like that's the nano action. Like,
or is it like the sub steps?
exactly. Actions get broken down into sub actions and then actions and then actions and then all the way at the bottom of the nano actions.
Okay.
So, again, like if somebody needs to get called, like you can't break down that call. Like that's something that has to get done. You can break down, I need to get the number for the call. I need to look up this. I need to look up that. So there's all kinds of other nano actions before you get to the call. But then in terms of actually getting on the phone and making the call, like you can't break that down any further. That's something that, at the basic level can only be done by doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. So any questions about any of that before I go into the stories part of this? Nope. Okay, cool. So let me go back. So here's the big, kind of programming revolution I've been working on over the last few weeks, which is to integrate the stories with the creation. So you guys had seen at times where, and Angie, we did this a lot for you, where I processed the video from our meetings and then I created those web pages to be able to create the whole story, essentially, of what you're doing with your different projects, right? So that story making machine, I've now fully integrated with the mission control, with the creation app. So now you can switch back and forth between them. So what we were just looking at, so assembling technology team, we're in the scoring app right now. I can click on the creation app icon. This, what you're looking at here, is the navigation bar. And I'm going to explain the navigation bar because this is really key. So here is the assembling the technology team. Assembling the technology team is a sub-action underneath creating the Uniting for Action system, okay? So you can see that it goes from here and then the arrow points to here. And then if we want to go into one of the apps for this action above it, we just click the arrow, it opens up our panel of apps. We can now click on the creation app icon next to that. It refreshes the screen. So now we've got the creating for Uniting for Action system. Here's all the sub actions underneath it. We can actually expand all at once to see all of them. And then also going down here, as we have creating the Uniting for Action system, we can hover over the hand to see underneath assembling the legal team is assembling the intellectual property attorneys. And underneath assembling the business accelerator team is leader. And underneath this is address role of bartering. And then underneath that is more. So we have all of these flyouts for all of these levels of parent actions and child actions. I'm going to use those terms to make it a little bit easier to understand. So the big parent action is creating the Uniting for Action system. These actions are children actions underneath. When you do the flyout, this is another child action underneath address commerce. These are children actions underneath the role of bartering. So that's how you have all these generations, right? And this is how we view all of the generations on the mission control right in front of us, so that we have like this way to flow between this whole big, tree of all of these thoughts. But now I'm creating the interface where we quickly and easily navigate through that entire tree of thoughts. Do you guys see what I'm saying and how it's working now here? Any questions? Yeah. Any questions about what I just described about that?
Looks pretty clear.
Okay, great. So I'll just show a couple other pieces really quick before Emiliano goes, and then we'll get into the other parts. So I showed you the creation app. I'm going to show you the story app in a moment, but we'll go into the update app. So the update app is where you add and remove nano actions, stories, thoughts, all of those different things. So here we are in the creating uniting for action system, some of you saw this type of interface before. So it's got the same thing. It's got the, actions, and then still got the flyouts for the children actions underneath it. This is where you can add actions in between. So underneath, we have in between each of these existing actions, we have a line here with a plus and then an action icon, add new action. So that's like the typical thing you're going to add to an action as a new action. But you have more here, and you click on more, and these are all the different types of things that you can add to actions. So you can add, and these are the 4 associated with stories, and these are the 4 associated with actions. So I'll just explain it really quick, and then, get into more detail again later. But with the stories, it starts with themes. So you got themes that are like collections of stories, and then you can add stories within those themes. And then within your stories, you can add collections of thoughts. So you're categorizing these collections of thoughts, and then you add the thoughts. Those are the things that you add to stories typically, but you can add all of those things to your reality generating machines as well, which is the awesome upgrade that I've made, is that it's totally interchangeable. When you have a reality generating machine and you want to add descriptions and you want to add thoughts and you want to add whatever, you can do that just as well. And I'm going to show that, in a little bit. But here's the other 4. So this is for the actions. The actions start with adding categories of reality generating machines. So I've got, all one category can be video. And under video, I've got all these different reality generating machines or intentions I want to create, right? So then you've got the reality generating machines. Under reality generating machines, you have sets of actions. So you can have collections or sets of actions. And then you have actions. So you add all of these different things, at wherever you want. This is the interface to do it. You can move them up and down. You can delete them. Your updating app is your interface to be able to manage both your reality generating machines as well as your stories. So does that make sense? Any questions about that?
It's basically all the same right now. You're showing us just different functions within the system of what you can do with the actions.
Exactly. Right now we are in, we looked at the creation app. We looked at, now we're in the update app. Now I'm going to jump us into the stories app. So again, you guys have seen parts of this. The stories actually is very familiar in the way that it looks from what you guys saw before. But now, again, a lot of different back-end stuff and a lot of different, technology happening behind the scenes. So here's the story where now, again, creating the Uniting for Action system is the story. It's the main page. And then on this page are all of these different actions, right? And again, the icons show that it's actions. So we scroll down the screen, creating the Uniting for Action system, and then assembling the legal team and assembling the business accelerator team. This is where we have these apps, which are both for us and for users. So we have the seeking app, the supporting app, and the connecting app, as well as the thoughts app and the branches app. Okay, so I'm going to get into more of those with Angie and Emiliano. You'll be able to watch, the video to see more of the specifics of those things. But, now you're seeing, the updated interface, understanding what's going on behind the scenes and why. And now we'll talk about, how we apply these to Angie with her travel blog and whatever other, projects she wants to apply this to. So since you're short on time, Emiliano, any questions that you have or anything you want to share before you have to go?
No, seems like you've just been perfecting what you had, and it's getting clearer how to use it. So, hopefully today you can explain to Angie how she can start using it, so that when me and her speak, or her and I speak, we can actually get some actions on there. Use it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's where we have to see, what Angie's needs are and what we can be using it for now, and what other things you may need to use for our folks. So yes, we'll get as clear as we can about all of that. So yes, what you're seeing now is you're seeing the updated interface. There's a lot that's been updated behind the scenes to have it be as functional as it is right now, and to add the functionality. about to program the Branches app, which is really important. The Branches app, just to let you know, Emiliano, because it's important, is right now, everything you've seen is hierarchical, where we got reality generating machines, and under that we have actions, and we have stories, and under that we have thoughts. And so you're creating this hierarchy so that you can see it and you can explain it to people and you can show it to people in an organized fashion, right? But what I'm doing as well is giving people the ability to connect any two thoughts around anything. So, oh, I'm thinking about this and I want to connect this to this next kind of thought, and connect this to this. And so it's almost like a random type of connections, or it can be. It doesn't have all of the hierarchical structure. It's just, let me connect these thoughts, let me connect these thoughts, let me connect these thoughts. So I'm creating the interface to connect any thoughts, and then to be able to navigate through all of that stream of consciousness thoughts, basically. So that's a really important aspect of this, because this is where we're headed, as we've talked about, is where it's comparing thought maps with thought maps, right? And that's what, Angie, you're going to be doing basically, is as you're doing your travel vlog, you're going to be sharing all of this information, right? You're going to be sharing information about food there. You're going to be sharing information about accommodations. You're going to be sharing information about sites and about health and about all of these different aspects, right, of what you're experiencing as you travel. So, you know, but not everybody cares about all of those things, right? One person may only care about the food. So they're going to jump to the thoughts within your whole, you know, thought branches about the food in that place, right? Or they're going to query, of all the places that you've been to, what's your highest rated food? You know, what's the highest rated food of the other people that have watched your vlog? What's the highest rated food of the people that actually live in that location? You get what I'm saying? So this is the infrastructure to be able to capture all of that data and then be able to query all of that data. So that's why this is like such a huge breakthrough for humanity, because, you know, now that we have, you know, artificial intelligence to be able to process everything, we need to be able to process data in a way that can give us the types of information that we want, right? And in order to do that, we need to collect that information and then have a way to query that information. So everything that I'm showing you has been designed, you know, from the ground up to be able to apply artificial intelligence really, really quickly. And the last thing that I'll say, and you really appreciate this, Riko, and we'll go a little bit deeper into it, is that we're getting to the point very quickly, Angie, where you're just going to like dump everything that you collect, all of your video, all of your writing, all your whatever, just dump it into the system. And then the artificial intelligence within the system is going to process it in a way that shows it to your audience, not, you know, partially in the ways that you want them to see it, but what I'm really focusing on is I'm focusing on the artificial intelligence being trained by the viewers so that they see your information the way that they want to see it. So like, let me see Angie, let me see Angie's latest trip in a 5-minute summary that focuses on food, you know, and then it gives them actually a processed video, you know, of 5 minutes of you talking about food, whatever, you know. Oh, I really like this one place she was at. Give me the 5-minute highlight about that one restaurant. Boom, boom, boom. The artificial intelligence processes all of your video and then gives them that information. Because you can't, you know, exactly. That's like the boom, mind-blowing thing that we're working on right now. Yeah, exactly that. You don't have to try to package it in a way that this person wants to see it, in a way that this person wants to see it, in a way that this.
Right now it's just too slow, like processing this video and then going back and looking and editing and then telling the editor, no, I need it cut like this, I need it cut like that. And it's like all this back and forth. It just takes so long.
It takes so long, and you're trying to figure out the best way to tell the story in a way that so many people are going to want it. But really, we're moving very quickly to this customization where when you have 100 people, they want it 100 different ways, and you can only give it to them one way. So, you know, for 99 of those people, you're not giving them exactly the way they want it, right? They can't process your information exactly the way that they want to see it. So that's really where we're going with this as quickly as we can. And I think, and Riko will share more because I know he's more tapped into the latest with artificial intelligence. I'm pretty sure the technology exists right now to do that, where we're at already. So I'm just building the infrastructure to be able to have the interface to be able to manage it all. But that's like the reality we're creating right now with this. So with that, anything else, Emiliano, you want to say, or questions you have before you run, and we'll continue here now.
No, great work. I am excited to see how this keeps evolving, and we'll talk with, just send me the video and I'll check the recording, and then Angie, whenever you're ready, we can reschedule. I mean,
Okay.
Let's see. I think we stayed on like coaching call 7 or something like that. So let's see where we're at, and get those
let's
last
see where we're
coaching calls to really like get you again on momentum and help you solidify, and hopefully we can use Jared's system to get everything in it.
Yeah, maybe the things that we started with, the key performance indicators, maybe some of those things we can move into this master plan. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. All right. Thank you, everybody. I gotta run because I have a 1 more hour to make phone calls before it's the weekend. So
Okay. All right.
Awesome,
Thank you,
Emiliano. Thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks for all your great work.
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you
you.
all. See you.
Bye. Have fun dancing.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay, great. So any questions from you guys about what you've seen or what I've shared?
I guess my next question is, I would like to see how we can apply it to something that we have coming up for our organization. With we have the Tantric Ministry, and then we have the Thai Tantra Academy, and so I know that we're organizing several projects for those organizations, and we have our products. So we have the Ikorimo goddesses. So I know we started classifying some things on this app, and I just want to kind of like see how we can organize everything with this system.
Perfect. So that's great. I'll go through some specific, like how we use it and start to actually use it to outline some of those things. But also that's where, I mean, you can't necessarily tell. You may be able to tell by looking at some of what I've been doing. But there's a lot, weeks and weeks and months, really, since we spoke, of work that's gone behind the scenes, and still more to do. And I've gotten really clear along the process that, because last time we spoke, Angie, basically I was working on creating a system that you and others could use as a functional system to be able to, get your work done, basically, right? But what I've gotten through this whole process is that's not my goal right now. My goal right now is to have a functional prototype that I can show to backers, that they can get the promise of all of this, and they can back it with, what it needs to actually have all of the functionality that we're talking about, right? And to have like customer support people, on the phone if you need to call them or whatever, all of that. So all of these different types of, the integration with the artificial intelligence, like that's not something that I personally am going to program. It's either going to be Riko or somebody Riko hires, or somebody, that else that comes in. There's a whole lot of all of this to make it all happen. And it's, again, recently when we spoke months ago, I was in the bootstrap mode. Like I wanted to get a working system and I have it work for a lot of people and then all that. But it's too much, it's too much to try to keep programming every little piece myself and then go into this and then go into that. Like there's enough here for the right people to like get it, for like the mind blowing, oh my God, like we can do this like right now, like let's do this type of thing. So that's where I want to, as much as you can, use the system to actually functionally do things in your business. I definitely want to empower you to be able to do that, because it would be really great to have you being a working example and it working and all of that, right? But at the same time, we have to make sure that you're able to use like the out of the box functionality in a way that works for you to get the results that you want. Because there's not bandwidth for me or anybody else at the moment to do like a lot of customer support and handholding and that sort of thing. So what I'm focusing on right now is I'm focusing on this alpha launch with the realm of empowerment launch supporters. So that was, what I had written to you about when you were in Estonia. It's up to you guys if you want to be some of the launch supporters. I really would love for you to be. Those are going, and you can be first user of the system whether you are or not. But the alpha launch is going to be as quickly as it can happen. Let's say probably minimum like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a little bit more, because the backend database on the website has to be upgraded to handle the volume. So again, at the moment, like if you need a functional system like tomorrow, it's not here. It's not ready for you. If you can wait some weeks, then it possibly can be ready, but that's where we need to see what your needs are exactly and if it's going to fit your needs. I really want you to be a user of the system. I want you to be one of the first users of the system. I just want you to get where we're at in the whole process, which is not trying to have a lot of users and have it be a great working system for them. It's more of like right now, I'm just trying to get it functional enough to get the backing to get a functional system for you and for everybody. Does that make sense? Is that, clear? And so again, I'm super excited that you're, of your willingness to use this system. I just want to make sure that we're not setting you up to like, be trying to use the system and it not working the way that you need it to. You get what I'm saying? Like I want to get really clear about what your needs are and really clear, how we can manage your needs with the system. And that's where, again, Riko and Emiliano, with knowledge of these other systems and other options out there, like is using the Uniting for Action system for this specific thing, the best use of our time and all of that. Part of it, again, is setting you up to be, as we've talked about in the past, the visibility of you being on the stage of like one of the first users of the system and like the first, on the website using these tools, right? So I want to give you that opportunity. I just also want to kind of frame that within the context of that's a little bit more like long-term development, right? It's not like today, it's like coming. You know what I mean? Like I want to walk with you hand in hand as you're being one of the first users of the system. I just want to, again, set expectations that, the system right now is, there's a lot of bugs in it. I'm doing a lot of programming. I'm still adding things. Like I can't give you a functional system today, and how quickly I can give you a functional system kind of depends on our conversation in terms of like what you want to do with the system, right? So having said that, let's now dive in to what your priorities are and what you want to do with the system. And then let's, come back and see which parts of the system can serve you with what you actually want to get done. Does that make sense? Any questions about any of that?
Yeah. Well, we need this system to organize our content creation strategies, courses.
Let's start with that. Well, I'm gonna like do it like as
Riko,
we're.
do you have any comment for managing our VA?
So have you ever tried Trello?
Yeah, I've used Trello before. So that's
What's
like
the difference between your system and Trello?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, for a lot of what I just showed you so far, Trello would be a more full-featured substitute, right? The difference is that with Trello, you've got your team and your team, and I should say, you know, the last time I used Trello was a few years ago, so maybe there are new aspects of Trello I'm not familiar with. But you share things with your team within Trello, and you're all working on your tasks within Trello. But the tasks that you're working on are not informed algorithmically or statistically by any of the tasks of anybody else on any of their other teams doing anything similar, right? It's like as if every team in Trello was all part of a master team where they're all informing each other and learning from each other, right?
Okay.
And along with the artificial intelligence processing of all of that, right? And that's essentially where this is going. It's like, you know, whatever you're doing on Trello has likely been done 100 or 1,000 times by other people, and you have no access to all the learning that they already did about it, right? And you have no access to all the people they hired to do all those things that you need to do. It's like, why can't I just know, you know, the best way to do this out of the ways that everyone else has already done it, right?
Okay.
So it really comes down to what we're doing with this is we're all tapping into a collective global brain. That's really one of the big, you know, revolutions of all of this is like, you know, you use a perfect example with Trello or really any productivity software or anything, right? It's like it gives you the tools to share everything and do everything with the people on your teams, whoever has permissions, whatever, all of that. But like, you know, with all of this learning that all of these teams are doing, it's so crazy that nobody else has access to any of that. As a society, we're just repeating, just wasting so much time and energy as a society, right? So this is really designed to go from that incredible like inability, ineffectiveness, inefficiency of how we use our time and our resources to using technology that we have readily available to have us all tapped into a collective global brain that gives us all instant access to everything everybody knows about everything, right? And the one thing that I'll share about that, which is a new thing, Riko, you haven't heard this, but which is really important part of this. Any questions about what I just shared before I add this other part to it?
No, go on.
Okay, so here's the other part that you'll really appreciate, Riko. Where we're going with this is that, you know, with the processing of the video, the artificial intelligence processing of the video, what we're going to as quickly as we can is where the video, the artificial intelligence is doing processing in real time. So as I'm talking right now about artificial intelligence processing video, we're getting a heads up display of like artificial intelligence processing of video, that thought, and then where that thought branches into. Oh, so you can go into, you know, what YouTube is doing about it, what Meta is doing about it, what OpenAI is doing about it, how they do this, how do they do this. So in real time, you can actually start to have augmented thinking. That's what we're about to experience as humanity. Instead of the thoughts being only what we can generate in between us and maybe Google in the middle of our meeting, we'll have the AI assistant constantly listening and constantly showing us on the screen in front of us what we're talking about, where this thought has led others to, who that we know has been talking about this thought, what experts that we follow has been talking about. So we are about to have real-time instant access in our thinking process to everything that everyone's been thinking about this already. So this is like a real like augmented thinking experience that we're about to have as our norm for everything. You guys get that? Like that's like real like mind-blowing stuff for me. Do you see what I'm thinking about that, Riko?
Yeah.
So that's, again, you're right in like the simplicity of the functionality that I'm showing you right now. It's like it can't compete with Trello as like a, you know, fully functional system because that's been developed and refined and all of that. And sort of, but what we're doing is I'm creating the technological infrastructure that actually supports the type of functionality that I just described to you, augmented thinking, right? So it's like what's really significant about this is I'm just creating the initial building blocks that like I can step by step have a meeting with somebody, you know, that has the backing at this point, show them how we use these pieces to get to augmented thinking so that we can now actually build it, right? And that's the thing is like this, what I'm doing right now is creating intentional evolution at speed. Because just like I'm speaking those thoughts into existence and the artificial intelligence is going to process it and be able to share it with people that can do something about it, like every time you have a thought within this system, you'll speak the thought, the artificial intelligence will process it into your thought branches. That thought will now sit there and other people can show up because they're searching for similar tags or they're just following your thought branches. However they find that thought, or you can share that thought on social media. Hey, everybody, check out this thought I just had. Once that thought is consumed by others and others watch the video, then they share thoughts and they share thoughts and they share thoughts. And that one thought you had, people start to, you know, talk about it, have a conversation about it. 20% of them want to go in this direction. 30% of them want to go in this direction. You know, another 20% want to go in this direction. As they do, literally, because the platform is here to facilitate these groups of people that are having similar thoughts, combining, you know, around those thoughts, finding each other around those thoughts, then the system automatically gives them the ability to pool their resources and start to actually take action in each of those areas. So just by you speaking a thought, now other people can start to do things to create realities in multi-dimensional ways from your initial thought without you doing anything other than having spoken that thought. Do you see what I'm saying? That's like a real, again, mind-blowing, I can't believe like we're on the cusp of this happening, that we're all going to be swimming within these seas of thoughts that people are sharing and things are going to be happening and we have the ability to actually create reality just by creating thoughts that other people want to do something about it. Now we have the system to actually facilitate that. So does that give you a little bit more idea, Riko, about, you know, again, why there's a benefit to having this as the beginning to get to those really further levels, but it all is it's really, really step-by-step from the technology infrastructure that I've already created. So that's why this is so huge where we're at right now. So any questions, any comments about what I just shared about that? Okay, cool. So yeah, it's really awesome that we're starting with you, Angie, and now we'll dive into like your some of the very specifics that you're interested in. And I'll start to use the system right now to outline it so you can ask questions and we can see, you know, what the limits are of the technology for whatever you want to get done, right? So we'll get right into it. So you ready? Ready to dive in and be specific now? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not able to do it under your profile right now just because of all the programming. So I'm going to do it under my profile. So we're going to go in and we're just going to start with something new for you, and then we'll move it over to your profile. I'll do that behind the scenes. So let's go back to the creation app, and now let's go ahead and start this may give an error, but let me try it. We'll start a new. Actually, I'll make a new category for you. So here's the category. So let's make a category for Angie. So anything we develop, we'll be able to move over from this category. So remember, category is a like collection of reality generating machines, right? So we'll call this Angie's World is this category. And so just to show you what we're looking at now, this is the basic building block of the whole system. And this one building block is used for everything. So the building block has a title. The building block has the story where you can put text, you know, you can add HTML, and then a link. And this is actually going to change. So don't worry about the link. I'm changing that into the branches. We have the YouTube link. You know, so this is where, as you've seen, we can post video clips. You've got the image where you can upload an image. You've got the embed code. So if you have, you know, an embed code from a website, you can enter it in here. And then you choose whether this is going to be publicly viewable or not, and choose whether you're going to allow others to share their thoughts publicly about it. So this is like really basic, but we actually can build everything that you're seeing from this one basic building block. So any questions about this building block right here?
What would I put on the embed code? Is this like if somebody's developing something?
Like, for example, when we were working with the mind maps, the mind map app gives you a code that you can paste into here that the mind map can show up on this page. So, so embed codes are from other apps where they give you a code, like Constant Contact is another good example. You know, they give you a code, add this code to your website, and then when it's added to your website, now you've got that form, you know, for somebody to sign up for Constant Contact. It's on your website, but the information goes back over to Constant Contact. So, you know, websites like that give you embed codes, and so when you get one, you can paste it in here to add whatever they're giving you onto your page.
Okay.
Okay, so any other questions about this building block right here? So the thing about it is this building block is the same for themes, stories, sections, thoughts, categories, reality generating machines, actions, like whatever you're entering into the system, you're always entering it into this interface right here. So that makes it really simple. You don't have to learn all these different interfaces or know, you know, whatever. It's always this. So any other questions about anything you're looking at on this page?
Seems pretty good.
Okay.
I like that you put the embed thing.
And this building block will get more sophisticated over time, but I really love that everything we're doing, all reality generating machines, all stories, all everything is based on this unit. And because it's based on this unit, every tool that gets created for one thing is applicable to everything. So that's kind of a really cool part of this, if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense to you, Riko?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I know that might be a little technical for you, Angie, but you know, just imagine again that if you got all these different, you know, wrenches and you need to have all different sizes wrenches for all different types of, you know, bolts, like every bolt is the same size for everything. So whatever wrench your power tool, you know, is developed out there, it can be applied to everything, which is awesome. So now we've got Angie's World. We're going to submit.
So if I need to create social media strategy and I need to delegate to my VA a month worth of social media, how do I use this for that?
Yeah. So let's go into that now. So I just created the Angie's World category. So now we're going to go into the Angie's World category, and now we're going to specifically create the reality generating machine for what you just described. So what do you want to call, you know, what you want to create?
So a social media strategy.
Okay. So we're creating the reality generating machine for social media strategy.
Hmm?
So now that we've created this reality generating machine, now we want to start to break it down into some of the categories and some of the actions, right? So you've got different categories of things. So maybe like some categories will be things that I mean, this is one way of breaking it down, but you can break it down different ways. But one way of breaking it down is things that you need to work on, and then things that your, you know, virtual assistant needs to work on. You can also say, you know, we've got posts, we've got content creation, you know, again, so there's different categories, right, of things that need to get created. So let's pick one of those things so that we can start to drill down into that. So what do you want to focus on?
Let's see.
What are those fingers?
Yeah, so the fingers are the one pointing backwards is to be able to move this. So you can move, one reality generating machine to a different category, a different action to a different place. The thumb pointing down is the delete, and then the hand is the children. So that's where under Angie's world, you've got social media strategy. This is where you have the ability to add children actions to it now. So that's what we're about to do.
Okay.
All right, so I would want traffic to my website from the social media posts.
Okay, great. So
Leads and sales, brand awareness, community engagement.
okay, those are great. Those are good sets of actions. So we're going to add a new set. Okay. And so again, just to remind you, you always have the ability, this is in order. So you have the ability to add before or after. And then if we're adding under, then you go into the drop down. Now we're adding under social media strategy. These again are the default things that you can add. You can add a new set. You can add a new action. And then you have more if you want to add any of these things. Okay. And what we're going to add right now is we're going to add a set of actions. We're going to add a separate set of actions for each one of the things that you just described. Okay, Angie? So we'll add a new set. So what was the first one on the list that you just mentioned?
All right, well, we'll go with the first one as brand awareness.
Brand awareness. So you want to increase brand awareness, or what is the action that you want to take?
Increase
brand awareness. Okay. That's pretty much the way you want to think about this, is what is the action I want to accomplish? So we want to increase brand awareness, because when you're thinking, oops. I don't think my editing capability is working right now. Let me just create another one. Okay, so we're going to increase brand awareness. What I was saying is you want to think about these things in terms of like to-dos, right? Actions to be done. So increasing brand awareness is an action to be done. Just brand awareness, like what is your goal around brand awareness, right? So you want to increase brand awareness. I want to create content. I want to, create more posts or have more viewers or have more followers or whatever the action is, because then that action gives you the sub actions you need to take to accomplish it, right? So now that we have increased brand awareness, so now we're going to go, under increased brand awareness, and we're going to go and start, some of the actions under that. So what are some of the things that you need to do or have or get done in order to increase brand awareness?
I don't know. I'm looking it up. Awareness. Maybe Riko, do you have any ideas? Is he still on?
Yeah, I think he's just on mute. I can share a couple of things while we're just, looking at how this works. So for increased brand awareness, you can focus on, I need to create some content, right? We already talked about that. You need to create some content, and then you need to post the content. And those are some of the things that need to get done in order to increase brand awareness, right?
Yeah, exactly. Have a posting plan.
Okay, great. So again, that's essentially another set of actions. So here we could add an action or a thought, but I'm going to add
There's interact with your audience, collaborate with other creators and influencers.
Yeah.
Where you get that from?
What's that?
Where do you get that from?
I'm looking on my phone.
Is it like something that you wrote previously, or?
No, I'm just asking Google.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we could ask ChatGPT.
Exactly. So let's use a couple of those. So let's say what you said first. Increase brand awareness was interact with followers. Is that what you said?
Yeah, interact with your audience.
Mm-hmm.
The way you interact with your audience is by making posts, right? Making posts.
Exactly. Creating content.
Yeah.
So let's again create a set. So under increase brand awareness, we're going to, increase interaction with audience.
Yeah.
And then under that, we're going to, again, let's now, there's more sub actions, but I'm going to just leave it as an action now so that we can actually have some actions. So increase interaction with audience, I'm going to say that we're going to create content, right? In order to do that, along with create content, then underneath that you're going to have to edit the content, right? And then create posts, right?
Yeah, it says get to know your audience, set social media goals.
Yeah. So yeah, so this is good. Edit content, get to know your audience. So let's go back if you want to add get to know your audience. So here, just to show you again, this is the navigation up here. So this shows you always where you're at. These are called breadcrumbs in technical terms sometimes. So it started with our category Angie's World. Under that, we have our reality generating machine of social media strategy. Underneath that, increase brand awareness, increase interaction with audience. I'm showing you this because, again, you always have this navigation that's showing you where you're at in the moment, and then what's led you to this point, and then what I'm about to program, so that it is that each one of these hands, just like you get the flyouts here, so it shows you everything underneath it, you're going to have the same thing up here in your navigation. So even though we went into social media strategy, you'll be able to hover over the hand and see all the other things in Angie's World. And you'll be able to go over here and see everything else besides increased brand awareness. So again, the importance of this is the interface gives you the ability to flow through all of your thoughts quickly and easily. Lets you see it all, lets Riko see it all, Emiliano, anybody else you're sharing it with. And then once again, you get to where, like, let's go back to increase interaction with audience. And
like with the VA, I could share this with her and she could see like these different goals.
Exactly. And what's going to happen is Riko's going to read an article about increasing brand awareness, and he's going to go in here and he's going to link to that article. And now your VA is going to be able to read it, and you're going to be able to read it. And then you're going to make like a quick note about it, a thought about it. And so it creates the interface to have all of the conversations about things, and gives you the ability to essentially like dump all of your thoughts into a place where they can be worked on all the time, right? Like as long as all the thoughts are locked in your head, Riko can't do anything about it. Your VA can't do anything about it. It's only once we get it out, and this is like the collection place where it's all getting collected, that then now the VA can do this, Riko can do this. You're in a collaborative environment around those thoughts. You get what I'm saying? So that's really where we're going with this, is we keep building out, and we can keep going more now if you want to, but I just want to kind of share where we go with this as you're seeing it, is that, let's go back. Now that we're building out this within the creation app, we're going to jump over to what it looks like in the stories app, right? So I'm going to social media strategy because I want you to see from social media strategy down. I'm going to select the stories app. And now what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and bring up the page where a lot of times this is what you're going to be sharing, because this is where, we've got social media strategy. Then we've got, this is what we've created so far. This is the hierarchy of what we've created so far. When we come down, down to increase brand awareness, here's where Riko can share a thought, and then Riko can add a branch and your VA can see the branch that Riko added and see the thought that Riko has. So this becomes your interface to be able to communicate with each other, share different things with each other. You know,
That's in the, what is that called? That little symbol, the story. This is the story generating machine.
yes, this
Story.
is stories, or what I was referring to before as the story making machine. This is the Stories app. And now that we're in the Stories app, it gives you each one of these components. So again, let's go down to increase brand awareness. This is where you have, you know, whatever videos you're sharing about it, whatever content you're sharing. Then this is where you can say what you're seeking. You can say what you're offering. You can add a thought. You can add branches. So these are the different.
You were saying that I could share the videos for what I'm seeking for, and then what supporters I need, and then the connectors and all that, right?
Exactly. So under the seeking app, you can say, you know, I need to increase brand awareness. I'm seeking, you know, somebody that can do this, and you specify exactly what you're seeking, and then you specify exactly what you're offering. Like either I have this money, or I have this trade, or I can connect you with so-and-so, or, you know, whatever it is, right? So that all of that is right there within the system. And that's all part of the functionality that's, you know, going to be rolled out within the next few weeks here. So that's it. All of the, a lot of the interface is going to happen through this. This is, for the most part, the public facing interface, right? Like when you're sharing increased brand awareness, like on social media or with your VA or whatever, a lot of times it's going to be this link here, because that's where they can add a thought, they can add a branch, they can see what you're seeking, all of that.
Okay.
So
yeah, I would like to make something that I could share with the VA, because I feel like yeah, we just need a better way to increase brand awareness, and for there to be like a system for us to do that.
exactly. So here is where, you know, let's kind of dial it back to what the system facilitates for you, right? So now that you are mapping out all of these like step-by-steps of increasing brand awareness, and you're going to be able to apply all of that to your brand awareness around your travel vlog, right? But also a lot of those step-by-steps are going to be the same as how you create increased brand awareness for your therapy work, right? As well as
the academy, for the ministry, for all the things.
Exactly. So that's where you're seeing already that as you're building one reality generating machine to increase brand awareness for one thing, that you can then take that same reality generating machine and apply it to this other aspect of your work, right? And then
where would I'm sorry, complete that thought.
Yeah, just to complete that thought, that's where, you know, even within just your own operations, once you develop, you know, work your way through all of these details about increasing brand awareness, now you've already done it for these other aspects of your work, right? But also, now that, you know, you're creating this reality generating machine for creating brand awareness, and Emiliano's creating a reality generating machine for creating brand awareness, and Riko's creating a reality, then, you know, as we have multiple users over time, you'll be able to tap into all of that collective information. So you won't have to try to, off the top of your head, let me Google and figure out how to create brand awareness. You'll be able to tap into all the best knowledge that everybody has about everything, right? And that's where you'll, yeah.
So if I have a social media strategist right now that he's going to start working with us. How do I'm going to send him our tantric ministry write-ups that we worked on, because he wants to know who we are and what are we about, so that he can help us come up with a strategy. So then how do I get these thoughts or whatever he's going to give us, the information that he's going to give us, how do I collect it to put it into here? Or do I tell him to film a video and then I post it, or what do you think? How about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's where, as you and I have been talking about, that's where we're kind of at right now, between being very close to the artificial intelligence doing a lot of this work for us, but not quite there at this moment, with what you're going to have your strategist do tomorrow. It still needs to be, edited into something that, you all understand, or the VA will understand, or, whatever. So that's where the structure that I'm showing you, whether you create a video clip, or he creates a video clip, or he creates a to-do list, or whatever,
Okay.
whatever it is that's getting created in this moment, you'll be entering right into the interface that I just showed you. And then, with the mind that as quickly as we can, it'll go more towards, what Riko was sharing with me, a couple months ago, which is that, now it can just be like a mind dump, and let the artificial intelligence process it into, the 2-paragraph thing or whatever, right? So that it doesn't have to be you doing all the work or he doing all the work. We want to obviously take advantage of, the artificial intelligence as quickly as we can around this. But that's the thing, is that's why we're seeing the promise of artificial intelligence is so great, because it shows us how much extra time we have to take to do all that stuff manually right now, right? Like for you to do it, for the strategist to do it, it's like a lot of work. That's why as soon as we can have the artificial intelligence do it, thank goodness, right? So that's essentially where we're at. It's like the system gives you the ability to do it manually through all the interface that I'm showing you, and then as quickly as possible, we have the artificial intelligence doing a lot of this work for us.
Perfect.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah. So any other questions right now specifically, or did I give you everything you want to see? There's one other part. Let me show you, because this gets back to what you had asked about back when, Angie, is now that we've created. So let's go back. We're at increase brand awareness. I'm going to click on that to bring us to the story app for increased brand awareness. Now that we're here, I'm going to go back to, go back to the creation app. So now what it does is it gives us the ability. Oh, okay. So here's our create content, and here is our scoring app. So right now with the scoring app, it's based on what we talked about, and your score is based on, what you're sharing, what you're offering, creating all of these. So that's what your score is based on. So it's this preset scoring system that I've created the criteria of how it gets to a 10. But like we talked about, Angie, and I'm building into the system to create a customized scoring system. So you can decide for yourself, things are done, I'm at a 5 when such and such has been met, or I'm at a 7 when such and such. So you can apply your own scoring to the things on your creation control panel, right? So you can either use the default scoring system that I'm showing you, or I'm creating the customization where you can have your own types of scoring systems and then apply those scoring systems to the ways that you're managing things. So that's another important aspect of this, that you have that flexibility.
Perfect. Perfect. So with the technology that's available right now, like if I want to just start using it just for sharing with my VA, a strategy, a social media strategy, is that something that I could use it for, or you were saying it's not ready?
It may be ready, like, by sometime next week, maybe as early as Monday. I would have to, what I'd have to do is basically polish up a bunch of things so that you can be using the system, because And then the other part of it is, you know, parts may break at times, you know, while we're still early in this process.
Like the bugs or whatever, or things like that.
They're going to be bugs while I'm pulling out so much stuff. But I can, if you want, like, depending upon your timing, if you want your VA to start to work on this like next week, then, you know, we can focus on getting it ready for next week.
Yeah, well, right now I'm just communicating with her through a simple way, through like a Skype, and just like going back and forth. But if there's a way that I could provide more organization, then it may be easier to communicate and not have to repeat things or.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that way, like we've talked about before, you know, you can record, you know, a 1 or 2 minute audio recording or video recording, or whatever it is that you want to say, you know, the types of things that we normally share on WhatsApp or Skype or whatever, right? But now when you post it within this system, now it's all there in context, so that when your VA needs to refer back to what you said 2 weeks ago in that recording that you made, they don't have to go back to Skype. They don't have to go back to WhatsApp. They just go right to that part of your reality generating machine where you mentioned that. So all that information is there. And then when you have a new VA come in that, you know, needs to focus on other things, like everything you've shared with this VA is all right there, all organized. So you don't have to communicate the same thing over again or teach, you know, somebody the same things again, right? So that's, again, a big benefit of all of this, is that everything that just kind of gets buried now in our stream of consciousness communications and our email and our text and our WhatsApp and all of that, now there's a place where all of that can live over time, so that whenever any of us needs to go back to that part, all of our past thoughts are there, all of our past links are there, all of our past work is there. So we've got everything, you know, at our fingertips for everything that we've done.
Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. Cool, cool. So any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I think for now I'm good. I need to move on and do a couple other things. I don't know if Riko's still on, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, if you want to say, Riko, anything you can. Yeah, you're welcome. I really appreciate, you know, like I said, your journey in all of this, the fact that you're the first one, you know, here showing up to do all this and to work with all this. I really can't wait, you know, to feature you and let you, you know, let the world see you using this, and really excited to hear about your travel vlog, that's something that you want to focus on and everything. So yeah, let's well, we'll catch up more soon. I'll share more with you in the coming days about what's happening, and we'll figure out where we're going with all this.
Stay in touch. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great to be with you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.